Good morning, Miss Linda.
Hi, good morning, Ocha. How are you today?
I'm very great today, Miss Linda. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. Good to see you. Halo Bapak Ibu semuanya, good morning. Silakan kalau mau unmute dulu supaya kita bisa saling menyapa dulu ya as we begin our session this morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Linda.
Good morning, Linda. How are you
Here.
today?
Wow, so good to hear all of your voices.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And there's a lot of us in this class. This is such a big classroom, isn't it? And I'm very excited to meet with all of you and also to share a little bit from New Maths Champion, how to teach math using blended learning program, of course. All right, so before we get started, I just want to remind us of a couple of things. In Mentari Group, we are very happy to present a session that is not only from me as a presenter, but it's an interactive session, as what Ocha has mentioned also in the beginning. So please, if I'm asking you questions or if I'm asking for your comments or some kind of feedback from you, please do not feel hesitate to jump in and share your ideas with us. There will be multiple opportunities in which you can interact with me as well as with the other participants in this group. So that's the first one. Now, secondly, I do understand that sometimes, especially in a big group, there can be big pressure, right? Like to speak up and to share your opinion, especially in English. Okay, I do understand that. So please feel very free also when you need to ask question or respond to a question from me to use either Bahasa Indonesia or English. I'm Indonesian, of course, so I do understand Bahasa Indonesia very well, ya. Nah, udah mulai tenang sekarang. Saya udah lihat semua udah mulai senyumnya lebih lebar dari tadi, ya. So please feel free to do that. Just use any language you feel most comfortable in, because after all, this session is meant for us to really share and learn from one another. This is not an evaluative session. This is a learning session. So feel confident and I hope you feel confident in the language that you are about to use to interact with us this morning. Now, lastly, before we get started, I also have prepared another camera here, which I'm adding a spotlight on. As you can see in my workstation at the moment, this is another camera that belongs to me. It's just sitting next to where I'm sitting down right now. I have a few things that I believe our team has already notified you as well. If you can prepare some of these simple materials, then you can follow along the presentation by doing the same exact thing at your home, okay? And perhaps we can also show what you have at home later on when you are doing some things with this material. So I have a couple of things here. The first one is just an origami paper. It does not have to be this color. Usually in a classroom, when a teacher is showing certain color, all the students think, oh no, I don't have that color. You can use any color as long as it is a square paper. You can even create your own, that's fine. And the next thing will be paper strips like this. This will be used a little bit later in the session as part of our activities in introducing about equivalent fractions to the student. And if you can also have just a pair of scissors nearby, that will also help later on with doing the activities, okay? So far, so good. Are you ready? Let's begin. All right then, let me put this other camera on hold for now. Okay. So welcome to this class one more time. This is a class for primary mathematics, teacher training with New Mathematics Champion, with New Maths Champion. And let's jump right in. Our session this morning is about teaching blended learning math program with New Maths Champion. I'm Linda Setiawan and I will be your trainer today. There will be two objectives that we are trying to achieve by the end of the session. The first one is to review blended learning. So just a brief review, of course. I think Pak Doni has already mentioned a little bit also about the relevant background leading into our session. And then secondly, we would like to gain some insights into implementing effective and successful blended learning with the New Maths Champion program. I would like to also echo one more time my thankfulness in entrusting this program for mathematics at your school. Thank you so much Bapak Ibu sudah memilih New Maths Champion, and hopefully by the end of the session, your confidence will grow even more in how to use this program more effectively. All right, so of course the references is this book that you're already familiar with, New Maths Champion. And let's enter into part 1. So I believe a good starting point is to reflect a little bit on where we are now in terms of education. I think the picture here is kind of showing a sign that is, the goal is really learning, but where is the learning right now? Or where is the education right now? What is our position right now? So allow me to share something with you. This is in one of the article that I read recently. The background of this article is for schools in India. So I believe there's some relevance with the schools there in Indonesia because of the nature of our countries that have some similarities. So this person says that the educational system at present is in a transition stage. To meet the challenges of expansion and for catering individual need, it is trying to adopt new technologies, which is, of course, you're very, very familiar with, and exploring new paths to reach the goal of quality educational opportunities for all. This is also something that Pak Doni has mentioned earlier. How do we make sure that we do not compromise the quality of education despite of the online learning that most of us are currently in at the moment? And this is also called for all. So as much as possible, of course, we always attempt to making education, quality educational opportunities accessible for all of our students' needs. So the next part, at the same time though, due to various factors, the educational system is not completely ready to leave the traditional modes of knowledge transfer. So we need to be adept at technology, yet we cannot leave traditional modes behind. So those are some, I think, a brief description of our current situation. So I would like to do a little bit of poll. I'm a math teacher, so I like collecting data, yeah? So let's collect some data this morning. Do not worry, I will not ask you to do something extraordinary, just something very simple. I would like you to state whether you agree or disagree with the statement that I just gave you, okay? So in order to do that, let's just do this a little bit differently. Instead of course, it's not really possible for me to gather the data if I ask all of you to unmute yourself at the moment. So can you please just share with us what you think of the previous statement? All you need to do is just choose numbers, okay? Between 1 to 5. Number 1, if you strongly disagree with the statement, and number 5, if you strongly agree with the statement. You are not going to be evaluated on this. This is just to gather your opinion, okay? So 1 is strongly disagree, 5 if you strongly agree. Let me show you the statement again, and you may start typing in the chat box once you have made up your mind regarding this matter. So here's the description. And I've already given you some comments as well on this statement. So now between 1 strongly disagree and 5 strongly agree, which number do you wish to pick? Okay.
Yeah, we received 2 answers, 3 answers. Most of them say strongly agree, which is the number 5 and also the number 4.
So between 4 and 4 and 5, which is agree or strongly disagree. Yeah, I'm also looking, of course, at the chat box here in my screen, and it looks like, yeah, most of you are actually answering 4 or 5. So this is a real situation, I figure, right? That all of us are facing. Perhaps now I would like to challenge you a little bit. So thank you for responding to my prompt in that. I'm glad to see your participation. Maybe we can ask if 1 or 2 people would like to share. Why do you agree with the statement? Now I'm bringing it a little bit further, isn't it? Now that you agree with the statement, maybe you can share a bit. Mengapa bisa setuju ya? I already said that you may also share in Bahasa Indonesia. So if you wish to share your answer, perhaps what you can do is you can activate the raise hand feature, and then Ocha, our moderator, can help to identify who you are. Ya, silakan Ocha, kalau sudah ada yang raise hand bisa kita beri kesempatan ya.
Not yet until now. Is there anyone to speak up?
Or you may also continue to type in the chat box if you feel more comfortable, and our team certainly can help to read your answer as well. Let me wait in the next 30 seconds. If you are still taking the time to formulate your answer or to just get comfortable in the session, that's completely fine. As I've said, there will be multiple opportunities in which we can interact in this virtual meeting room, of course. Apakah sudah ada di chat, Ocha mungkin yang berbagi?
Not yet, Miss Linda.
All right, so maybe 20 seconds more.
Oh, we have here Miss
Okay.
Fitra Elnur. In current situation, I feel impossible for us to not using technology.
Yes, indeed, Miss Fitra. It's impossible because now this is the only mode of instruction available for us. Sure, Pak Hari, I can show you the statement again. If you wish to take a screenshot of this, feel free. At the end of the session, we will give you the material. So do not worry if you are missing out on certain information. You will have this document available at the end of the presentation today. Okay, thank you so much for your responses. Let me move along with this. So because in the article, it states about the traditional teaching mode, so I think it's worth our time to revisit some of the benefits as well as challenges with this mode of instruction. After all, when we were students, I think most of the teaching are being done in the traditional method. And even now, as it's stated in the article, we cannot completely leave behind what the good values that traditional teaching mode have presented to us. So what are some of the benefits of traditional modes of teaching? Face-to-face interaction, right? Of course, the first one is the human touch, which will address affective domain as well as psychomotor domain, cognitive and psychomotor domain. Developing a strong value system. What does that mean? For example, like social skills like cooperation, sharing, respecting other views are more well developed, I guess, and more easily developed in traditional mode of teaching. There's also peer group interaction. This is also one of the areas in which some teachers are feeling, how do we find ways so that students would still be able to resume these interactions, even though they're in a virtual meeting room, or even when we are not able to see them, when it's asynchronous session. So those are some benefits, of course, that we do not want to leave behind. So how can we still do this in our lesson, even though now technology definitely is the best tool and the best option. And what are some possible deficiencies though? So as we are looking at the benefit, I think the other side of the coin is, of course, what are some limitations with this mode of instruction? Sometimes it could be difficult to reach all of the learners. Everyone learns at different pace with different style, different preferences in terms of how to learn. There has to be a fixed schedule for learners and teachers. If we're meeting from 10 to 12, just like today, all of you have to be here at a certain time, and all of and myself as a teacher has to be available at the same schedule. Often, traditional mode of teaching is also teacher-centered, which means everything depends on me as a teacher, what I know, what I am comfortable in, the method that I'm using, the resources, etc. Sometimes over-dependent on teachers and materials that are rarely updated. It also might be irrelevant to current needs and development. And finally, unless we are, I think before the pandemic, we are not really using technology that much. So both learners and teachers are not well versed with modern technology. I think we're aware and we might be using the technology every now and then, but we are not as well versed because we are not using it in a regular basis. So those are some possible deficiencies coming out from traditional teaching method. So then what's the remedy? Of course, our session is about blended learning. So the remedy is, of course, to have something with ICT, right? With technology. Our teaching has to be supported by ICT, information and communication technology, specifically digital tech. It provides new dimension to the learning process, introduces students to the wide pool of knowledge, and opens before them. This is the part that I hope you will also be able to see. The potential of technology is opening up innumerable opportunities to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So as teachers, if we are able to unleash all of the power of technology and make the technology our partner in teaching, we can provide students with such opportunity to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Okay. So what's blended learning? It's actually not a very difficult concept to understand. It's blended. If you look at a blender at home, many of you are moms perhaps, or you have some tools like this at home. Blender, it means you mix different things, right? In order to create something very yummy, something refreshing, such as juice or smoothie. So blended learning is basically like that. Okay, we are trying to combine the good values of face-to-face learning as well as online learning together in order to deliver quality instructions for all students. So this is a name. If you even look up in the internet, the name of this person will show up every time you're trying to research for blended learning. It's from this person named Dr. Driscoll. He wrote in 2002, so it's way, way back. And he says that blended learning is basically to combine any form of instructional technology. It could be video, it could be CD-ROM, it could be web-based training, apps, film with face-to-face instructor-led training. Okay, so as much as possible, you're combining all these tools as well as the strategy and ideas that you would normally do in a face-to-face learning to deliver the best possible instruction in a classroom. So it's not too difficult to understand. And of course, this is a Venn diagram. So the visual should help you as well to know what the idea behind blended learning is. So I just enlisted some benefits of blended learning for both students and teachers. So according to this article as well, it's talking about the benefit of blended learning being students get face-to-face interaction, as well as interaction in a virtual space. Students get training in different life skills. What are some of the life skills that students can get trained on with this kind of instruction? One of which is being time management, okay? Because whenever we're talking about synchronous, asynchronous session, particularly for asynchronous session, students have to kind of learn how to pace themselves in order to follow not only the material, but sometimes the assignments that teachers are giving them. Secondly, students can also get training in research skills, how to filter information, how to find relevant information for their school tasks, etc. Lastly, students get to learn at their own pace. I believe this is also something that Pak Doni has mentioned in the beginning. They can also get some targeted help and support as needed. Meanwhile, what are the benefits for teachers? Of course, learning does not happen just for students, but for the teachers themselves. Teachers are able to accommodate diverse learning needs. Teachers are well-versed with both modes of teaching. Teachers play a diverse role, not only as an instructor. So this is the part that I hope we all can also take away out of this session. Our role as a teacher is not changed because there is a technology coming into the picture, but we are actually playing a more diverse role. We are being an organizer. We're being a developer. I know some teachers are making videos yourself, right? Video pembelajaran. So you are becoming content creator in a way. And lastly, there's more flexible schedules for both students and teachers. It depends on the school policy, of course. Some schools require all of the class meetings to be in Zoom meetings, for example. Some schools have 50-50. Some schools have different percentage. But it certainly allows for more flexible schedule with this kind of setup. So that's coming from me. Those are some benefits that I have enumerated based on the resource, one of the resources that I have read. Now, what about from you? Sure enough, you get the idea, hopefully, what's blended learning at this time. I would like to hear from you again. And this time, I would like you to share your opinion on this prompt. What are some benefits and or challenges of blended learning? Jadi di sini ada dua komponen. The first one is the benefit. The second one is challenges. Karena selalu ada dua sisi ini ya. There are some things that will be beneficial, tapi juga tentu ada difficulties-nya. So if you wish to participate, which I hope many of you will participate, please share with us what you think. So now we are hearing from you. Now, instead of typing it in the chat box, I would like to introduce you to this tool if this is the first time for you. If you have used it before, then you are just looking at it one more time. Okay, so I would like to introduce you to this virtual board called Slido. So hang on, and this will give you the time to think of your responses again. Allow me to share the link with you so you'll be able to access the board. Okay. So it should be in the chat box by now. Please click on that link, only one click, and then it should give you access to the virtual board. Let me just present it so all of us will be able to take a look at what's on the board. All right. You shall see the question is still the same. What are the benefits and or challenges of blended learning? So let's now hear each other or look at each other's opinions so you can relate to some of similar concern perhaps, or you can get affirmed in what are some of the benefits as well. I believe I'm hearing both sides every time I have conversation with teachers. There's certainly some challenges that we cannot ignore, but there's also some potential benefits that we did not see before. Before we jump into the situation, we never thought that learning could be done certain ways. Jadi silakan Bapak Ibu ya. Yes, a very good one response. I think you may also say a little bit more because here the question is what are. Jadi boleh aja disebut ya kalau seandainya sudah pernah mengalami blended learning dan mungkin mempelajari satu skill baru, mungkin bisa disebut. Kalau ada tantangannya juga boleh juga disebut. Ya, jadi silakan use any. I know the prompt is in English, tapi kalau mau pakai Indonesian language, of course you are more than welcome to respond that way. Saya tunggu sebentar ya. Jadi di sini juga papan seperti ini memberikan kesempatan untuk kita ada real time responses, just like what you are giving us right now. One of you says it's more fun and interactive for student, of course, but for teacher have to extra work for preparing it. Okay, so there's some benefits, there's some challenges. I hope later on, when I am introducing some tools from Interactive New Maths Champion, hopefully it can help you a little bit in that planning part. Thank you, Mr. Octavianus. The benefit is more interactive learning. The challenge is signal of internet. Yes, how relatable that is, jaringan internet ya. Wow, lots of responses about creativity. Using games for assessment, indeed. So it's interest. I think I keep hearing interesting, fun. You can also read the same thing. Explore. I love this. Exploration, right? We rarely did this when all of the curriculum are set in stone, just using the book, just using the same workbook. But now it's actually open up more for us. Yes, class can be more efficient. It's fun, it's fresh. Yes, the challenge is time management, both for students and for us teachers. If we have to prepare more, it certainly will also play into the picture. I also like this one. This teacher has mentioned supporting device. Yes, improve your ability every day. So the learning curve is probably going, kalau kurva itu kita langsung learningnya exponentially begitu ya. Cepat sekali karena kita dipaksa awalnya untuk bisa adapt dengan situation yang sedang terjadi. Yes, I definitely agree.
We also have answer in the chat box, Miss Linda, from Miss Rohayati. She says, make the students be active.
This is also something that I like. Students can access the content anytime, reviewing by video, etc. Okay, later on, I will also introduce an interactive activity from New Maths Champion ebook. So hopefully that can be another good option for you to consider to share with your students. Okay. Somebody also say, yes, internet connection. Yes, use many applications in our class. I will also introduce some applications here and hopefully that can give ideas for you. Difficult to support students directly, especially in writing. Yeah, it could be quite challenging sometimes. Okay, let me close the poll for now. Lots and lots of responses. So far, there's about 34 responses here. Okay, so let me stop sharing and then let's now get into some more material for today. Okay. So here we have talked just a little bit about some benefits and some challenges of blended learning. Now let's talk about the how, okay? Because not only we are recognizing that was the reflective part, now how do we actually do this? I believe this is also something that's worth our thinking, of course. So the process of blended learning, based on the key ideas, again, if you are trying to look for more resources on blended learning, there is this name called Carmen in 2005. He was writing some key ideas of the process in doing blended learning. I think in general, we know that ICT supported or blended learning is done into, I think, in two stages, if you may. There's a synchronous and asynchronous session. Synchronous itu berarti yang bareng-bareng gitu ya, real time. Just like what we are doing at the moment, it's a live event. Everybody is at the same virtual space. Kalau pakai Zoom ya berarti in the Zoom meeting room. There's also the asynchronous part. Jadi yang tidak ketemu bareng-bareng, but the learning is still taking place. Ada self-paced learning. So you are giving the material and then you are setting certain expectation for your students to follow that. Kemudian di sini ada juga performance support material. Nah ini bisa jadi video tadi misalnya, bisa jadi interactive activities. Could also be some kind of online practice app. Now what happens in between, there's also these two elements, collaboration. Tadi ada beberapa juga yang bilang bagaimana untuk peer interaction misalnya ya. Collaboration and assessment actually can happen in both synchronous and asynchronous session. Tentu saja. Jadi in a synchronous session, we can still have students interact. Asynchronous tentu masih bisa juga selama kita punya satu tools or providing the opportunities in which they could discuss. Same thing with assessment. So now moving on, because we're talking about, and all of this is ICT supported. Moving on to the NMC features, because that's the book that you are using. What are some of the support in NMC to support such learning? Let me just show it first. And then I'm going to show these features again from the actual book, so you will know how to find it later in your book. So these are some of the different features. I just try to classify it with colors to help us kind of identify quickly which part is which. So the green part, ready, set, go, itu adalah di awal ya. So at the beginning of the lesson, you are trying to prepare the students, introduce to the new concept. Nah ini bagian ready, set, go. So if you're thinking of how do I plan my lesson using NMC effectively, mungkin kira-kira bisa stagesnya itu seperti ini untuk membantu learning activities ya. So the first one is you want to look for the ready, set, go, and then carry out this activity and play this game is very good for the concrete part of teaching math concept. By the way, in this lesson, we are going to use an approach from Singapore methodology, which is a methodology that's proven effective, which starts with the concrete material, moving on to the pictorial stage or picture, and then abstract. So carry out this activity and play this game is hands-on. Jadi kalau cari yang psychomotor in order to develop psychomotor skills, collaboration between peer group. If you want to demonstrate something in your live session, you want to look for ideas from these two parts. Now, the next part, the parts that I color with kind of like brown or gold is thinking questions and questions for immediate assessments. Ini gunanya mungkin sudah langsung terlihat ya dari namanya. This is for formative assessment or for extend the learning a little bit. So in the class, how do I ask my student? What kind of questions do I ask them? So they can engage with my lesson. Nah, silakan lihat idenya from the thinking questions. Also questions for immediate assessment. Assessment di sini tentu bukan berarti selalu yang tes atau ulangan akhir ya. But immediate assessment means when you're teaching a lesson, how do you know if your learners know what you're talking about? Okay. So those two parts are useful for that. The last two parts that I color with blue, think it through and math reflections. It's for extended learning as well as developing communication skills. Jadi kalau think it through, itu berarti ada satu contoh soal yang biasanya lebih sulit atau mungkin sedikit lebih kompleks. Nah, itu bisa jadi opportunity yang baik untuk mengembangkan juga higher order thinking skills siswa. Math reflections, reflecting on the learning. Look again, what have you learned? How do you understand? Do you understand if the question is changed like this, etc. Nah, itu math reflection. Jadi ini mungkin sedikit mapping aja. So next time you are planning your lesson, you will know exactly where to look for those stages. Okay, let me show you. I promise you to show from the actual book. So I will be showing you where to find it from the ebook. Okay. So here is the part that's, I believe, at the beginning of the book, just before you go to the content. If you wish to find what I just found or what I just showed you is really taking straight away from the book. So you can take a look here. The title is called Using the Book. It's the special features are all here. So you can take a look back later on and see it for yourself. Jadi kalau lupa gitu yang bagian mana, nah silakan lihat di sini. So it's kind of like a teacher guide in a way. Okay, these are the thinking questions. Nah, usually the thinking questions are coming out from the illustration. Jadi biasanya ada a boy or a girl and they're going to ask a question or they will be saying something. Those are actually your clue to guide the discussion in class. Carry out activity, play this game. We will also do this in our session, so no worries. Not only I will tell you what it is, but we will do some of these activities in our session. Okay. So let me jump back again to my material. As I've said, let's now do the actual lesson, shall we? So we can get a taste of some of these features that I have mentioned. Okay. So in this part of the teaching demo, I'm going to do the teaching demo in two parts. In the first part, we will try to look into the concept of fractions. Jadi kita langsung lakukan saat ini juga di actual lesson, taken from NMC, Understanding Fractions. And then later on, after the first QA session, we will take a look at another part of fraction, which is finding equivalent fraction. And hopefully, if we still have time afterwards, I can also show you a primary 6 material related to circles. So those are the 3 different parts you can expect. So the first one is understanding fractions. Probably those of you who are teaching, boleh kasih reaction saja supaya kita sedikit juga lebih tahu ya. Kalau ada Bapak Ibu yang teaching this grade level, grade 2. Mungkin ada? Boleh kasih jempol aja with sticker. Yes, thank you Ms. Fitra. You can give a sticker so you know who among us in our group today is teaching similar grade level. Ada yang, atau mungkin 1-2 ya, biasanya kadang-kadang guru kelas 1-2 itu combine gitu ya, kelas 1, kelas 2 ada ya beberapa. So this is your lesson, the lesson that you have probably taught before atau about to teach. The topic is about understanding fractions. So we go straight away to this lesson. It talks about our friend Ari. This is the part ready, set, go. So we are just introducing, take a look at the circle there. We are introducing the concept. Our friend Ari divides a square piece of paper into 2 parts. Each part has the same size. We say that each part is equal. We say that each part is equal. So that's another pointer for you. The word equal there is also a key term. Terminologi penting. Each part has to be equal. That's the way Ari folded the paper. So Ari shows 2 parts. or two ways of dividing the paper into two equal parts. He divides it this way, he divides it that way. So let's just do this together. It is best if you as a teacher can model it. So let's just do it, class. Suppose you are my class. Perhaps I can ask for the team to try to identify the other camera I have so that you can give a spotlight to that other camera. Thank you.
Already?
Thank you. So it's just a very simple demonstration, right? You don't even have to start with that picture first. If you want to start right away with the lesson demo, you can just ask your student, okay, class, I've asked you to bring a square paper. Let's now try to divide the square paper into two equal parts. Any ideas, right? You can also tweak the lesson that way. So this is the first way. As you can see, there's two rectangles. There's two rectangles in the square papers, two equal parts. The equal parts fit with each other exactly. If you want to add that, of course, that will be great also. The other way that Ari divides the part, perhaps I should just I can use the same paper and then just fold it along its diagonal. So you will get two equal parts as well. All right, the two parts are in the shape of, what shape is this? What do you see? Do you see anything different? Let me ask you that question first, and then I can also ask if you have other thoughts or other ideas. So this is the first, two equal parts. What shape is this that you see? The two equal parts are in the shape of what? Any answer?
Yeah, you can type it on the chat box, educators.
This is the first way, right? Divide the paper, fold the paper,
yeah.
Rectangle. Very good.
Yeah.
So the shape is a rectangle. What about the second one? What shape do you see for the two equal parts? Triangle. Okay. So the two equal parts can take at least two shapes, right? It could be a rectangle. It could also be a triangle. Okay. Is there still another way to divide this into two equal parts? Ada yang mau tunjukkan juga hasilnya sama mungkin? Yang two parts dulu kali ya, yang rectangle dan triangle. Did anyone also try at home? We can also put, thank you, Miss Indriani. Oh, so you also get two equal parts. I can see that is two triangles. Sebentar, Miss Indriani mau bicara ya? Satu lagi ada Miss Alma juga.
Okay.
Indriani Dwi Saputri. So we can allow her to unmute herself.
Yeah, please unmute yourself first, Miss Indriani.
Yes, thank you, Miss. Go ahead and tell us what you've got.
Okay, thank you, Miss. I want to tell to everyone that I have did to make rectangle and the second one is triangle.
Yes, rectangle and triangle. You got the same as mine. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Miss Alma, you want to show what you get?
You are still muted.
Sebentar, Miss Alma. I think we can also allow Miss Alma to unmute herself. Thank you.
First one, I have the rectangle, and then the second one is the triangle one.
Yes, so triangle and rectangle. Can you show it a little bit upward so we can all have a good view? Oh, karena pakai virtual background ya. Jadi sedikit blend ya. Yeah, thank you so much, Miss Alma. And satu lagi ya, Miss Ruri, karena tadi kebetulan saya lihat your camera, so I think you also have your papers, isn't it? Can you also just show it, maybe? Yes, we can definitely see two parts. Rectangle, very good. Yes, very nice. Ada satu lagi tapi kayaknya internetnya sedikit terputus-putus. Yeah, now we see the triangle, yeah, yellow triangle, yellow rectangles. Very nice, Miss. Thank you so much. Okay, so that is a simple idea. If you want your student to do a simple kind of demonstration, you could do what I just did, or maybe if you have figured out some other ways, you could also retain that. But sometimes in my class, that's what I do. My classes recently, of course, are mostly teacher training. So if I want my class, if I want the teachers to participate, sometimes I ask them to do something similar, and then I can give the spotlight, ask them to speak up. Okay, particularly if it is a small class, I think we can hear from everyone. If it is a bigger class, maybe we have to divide the class first into groups. So those are some of the different strategies to consider when you're doing a live activity like this. Just because we are still in the concrete stage, this is a concrete stage out of CPA approach, which later on I will, in the end, I will just clarify again what is that. But now this is using concrete materials such as paper, origami paper, easy to find. You can ask students to participate. Now class, because we have been successful with dividing the paper into 2 equal parts. And now I have a question for you. I will not show anything, but I believe you are a smart class because you've been participating and you've been observing well. Can you show me how to find 4 equal parts from the same, or maybe a different kind of paper, but from another square paper? Do you think you can show 4 equal parts? If you think you have an answer, you can certainly do the same thing, put a raised hand, so our team can identify who you are and put you here in the spotlight. Jadi sekarang 4 ya, divide a square paper.
Oh, we have a participant here, Miss Linda.
Sure.
Miss Ninyoman.
Hello, Miss Dina.
Hi, Miss Linda.
Hello.
I have 4 equal parts. Is it like this?
Yes, it's all square. Thank you so much, Miss Dina, for showing us.
Okay.
Is there another way? I think you can kind of know someone else maybe? Is there another way to show 4 equal parts? Okay, Miss Trelia. Oh, bisa dapat juga 4 triangles. Yeah, we can also obtain 4 triangles. How do we obtain 4 triangles? I wonder, right? As a teacher, that's what you would do in your class. Don't give them the answers too quickly. Nggak seru. Miss Rohayati, boleh kali ya? Miss Rohayati, silakan kalau mau menunjukkan. Miss Novinda, aku kasih spotlight dulu ya. Miss Novinda has some triangles. Sebentar, satu-satu ya. Ke Miss Novinda dulu, kemudian ke Miss Rohayati kembali. Miss Novinda, would you like to also say something? Yeah, I think you should be able to unmute yourself. Sudah bisa?
Yes, I can. Okay, I have
Miss Novinda,
4.
sebentar. Dari mana
Yes.
Miss Novinda, by the way?
I'm from Manado.
Oh, dari Manado. So you're in Wita ya? Sekarang sudah mau 12 o'clock. Oke, silakan Miss. So you
yes, I have
along diagonal.
4. Yeah, 4 triangle here. So I make it like this. First, make it half and then fold it again like this. So I
fold the triangle again in half. So
yes,
can you open
double
that?
fold. Yes.
Yes,
It
four
can
triangles.
be 4 triangle. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yes, 4 equal parts, and each part is a triangle. Wow, well
Thank
done.
you.
Thank you, Miss Novinda.
Yes, 4 equal triangle.
Yes, thank you so much. Miss Rohayati, silakan Miss. Terima kasih sudah menunggu. Miss Rohayati dari?
Cilacap, Jawa Tengah.
Oh, okay, very good. Silakan.
Okay, I have square and I have 4 square.
Yeah, 4 squares. Jadi dilipat pertama dari ujung kiri ke kanan, lalu dari bawah ke atas ya, Miss ya. So that we will get 4 equal parts. Each part is a square. Thank you so much, Miss. I believe there's many of you who are also successful with doing this task. Okay, so you can get 4 squares. You may also get 4 triangles. Is there still another way to find 4 equal parts ya? Tadi udah dapat 4 squares. Udah dapat juga 4 triangles. Bisa nggak ya dapat bentuk lain mungkin ya? Oh, Miss Lydia sudah muncul di layar. Silakan, Miss.
I have 4 rectangles, so I have 4 equal parts, and each part is a rectangle.
Can you show us how you got 4 rectangles, Miss Lydia?
Firstly, I fold it into 2, and I fold it into a quarter, so 4 equal parts.
So So 4 equal parts. So you folded it, but in the same direction. So you will get 4 rectangles. Very nice. Thank you, Ms. Lydia.
You're welcome.
So 4 squares, 4 rectangles, 4 triangles. Okay, so you can get 4 equal parts by folding your paper in different ways, in several different ways. Okay. Now let's come back. This was actually our original question. I'm so happy that many of you are trying this out with me and successfully found something that's a little bit more challenging, finding 4 equal parts. So the idea of fraction educators, it does not start with pembilang dan penyebut. You notice it, right? The first activity does not highlight that at all. It just highlight the word equal. Itu aja. Conceptually, secara konsep, yang penting itu ininya justru. Equal parts. We want the student to constantly see example of equal parts from the paper in this case. So here I want to highlight one more time. This part of the speech in your book is actually helping you to guide the discussion. So the boy says, I can also divide the paper this way. That's the question I'm asking you. Did you recall? I keep asking, can you find another way? Can you find another way? This is actually the idea. How many different ways are there? What are the shapes? What other shapes are possible? Okay, so you can turn from this speech bubble into a question to discuss in your class as you are doing the activity. Is there still another way to divide the paper into 2 equal parts? Is there a different way? What shape do you get? Okay, so it certainly helps with the discussion. So that is another way, of course. I think one of you also shows something similar in your demonstration. So in primary 2, when you introduce the fraction, remember the main thing is to introduce the concept of equal parts. And the equal parts can take the form of any shape. Now, this is another follow-up. After you have done certain activity with the concrete material, now moving on to the pictorial stage, which is using picture to further confirm the concept that you were introducing. So in this part, we are introduced to a girl. So our friend in this picture are looking at this picture, is looking at this particular one. So the square piece of paper has not been divided into 2 equal parts. Each part does not have the same size. We say that each part is unequal. Okay, do you see why it's unequal? Perhaps you can also try it yourself. If you still have the same paper, you can see whether or not these 2 parts, let me just highlight which part is it that I am showing. Are these 2 parts equal or not, right? That's the first thing. If you want to check, of course, you can try with the papers at home and then compare the 2 parts, whether or not they're equal. They are unequal. Now, the girl is asking, are the parts equal? Perhaps now, instead of me demonstrating the whole thing, is there anybody who has tried this? How do you show if these 2 parts that the girl is showing is equal? How do we know if they're equal or unequal? Silakan ya, coba dulu. Are the parts equal? You may raise hand. Oh, sepertinya ada yang masuk juga lewat chat. Oh, it has the same size. Not equal. Not equal. Simple demonstration is, I could go back again to my workspace. What I could do is I could try maybe to fold it along the line, but notice how I fold it this time. That is the part. I think in previous activity, yes, it's not making the same size. Even when I'm showing it like this and I simply show it to all of you, what you will come to notice is, okay, the 2 parts certainly are not equal. One part is much smaller than the other. Kalau masih belum yakin juga, bisa juga kita potong ya misalnya. Biasanya kalau untuk menunjukkan fit exactly atau tidak fit exactly, equal or unequal, bisa juga misalnya kita potong seperti ini ya. Not equal and different size, different shape, different size ya. Certainly not equal. Unequal parts. Nggak masuk ya. Jauh lebih besar yang ini. Jadi unequal. So the 2 parts are not equal. So this is a non-example. We were showing example of equal parts and now we are asking the students to evaluate whether or not the parts are equal. Jadi sebenarnya when we are showing this kind of question, we are training the students to evaluate. Kalau Bapak Ibu memikirkan HOTS ya, misalnya higher order thinking skills, ini sebenarnya sudah ada di sini. Because now we are asking them to evaluate. Evaluate itu kan making judgment ya, memberi penilaian. Ini equal apa enggak? Dari mana kamu bisa tahu dia enggak equal? Yeah, so from your learning activities, you can already train your students to think evaluative, to develop evaluative thinking, which is of course very good. In the mathematics, that's what we want them to be able to do. Again, the word unequal is both. That's also another key term. Jadi tadi ada equal, sekarang ada unequal, dua terms. And this question certainly is still circle, are the parts equal? Nah, ini juga bisa kita gunakan sebagai bahan untuk diskusi di kelas, just like what I have shown you just now. This is a follow-up question. How do you tell if the parts are equal? How do you tell means we want the student to back up their opinion or their judgment with a valid reason. How do you tell if the parts are equal? How do you know? So if you're looking for some ideas, bagaimana sih caranya supaya student itu bisa mengungkapkan understanding? We can say, how do you tell? How do you know? Can you tell a friend? Can you show me? Right? Those are some ideas for questions to evoke the discussion in the class that's relevant to your topic. So now we are talking about assessment. Of course, in a teaching, it should come full circle. In a full circle, it starts off with an activity that involves the students to try and discover something. At the stage, they should have discovered equal parts and unequal parts. And now let's assess their understanding one more time. Let's check whether or not students have understood the concept of equal parts and unequal parts. So now we are moving to pictorial again, which is, there are three pictures, A, B, and C. So now the shape is not only square. In our activities, the shape we have been using is a square. Now we have taken a look at three different shapes, A, B, and C. Okay, now I would like to ask you to participate in a different way. As many of you can participate, what I want you to do, class, is identify which shapes that have been divided into equal parts. What you can do is you may mark it on my screen. So what I will do, for example, I would choose shape A because it's divided into two equal parts. So go ahead and mark with a stamp or with a marker which of the shape are equal, have equal parts, have divided into equal parts. I see that shape A, definitely, because I am your teacher and I have marked that one. Oh, shape C, also divided into equal parts. You have seen some of your friends, right? Showing that one square can be divided into 4 triangles. Very good. Kok nggak ada yang pilih B ya? Kasihan amat. How many parts? How many parts do you see in B? 3 parts, yeah? But are those parts equal? Nggak equal, karena tidak dipilih sama sekali. No, tuh ada yang tulis. Bapak Octavianus. No, ada yang kasih cross begini. Okay, so I think that's enough to give you the idea. Go ahead, there's still some responses, but I'm about to clear this in 5 seconds. So if you didn't get a chance, do not worry. You get the idea, okay? You can also do something like this. It's all clear. Jangan coret-coret lagi ya, supaya tidak usah dihapus lagi. Okay, baru ada yang masuk sekarang. Let me clear. Thank you so much for your responses. So it can happen in your, the idea here, of course, is use the annotate feature as a way to communicate between you and your student. Okay, simple as that. They can put up sticker, they can mark. Where do I get this question? It's from your book, actually, from NMC Book 2. But now, I am changing it a bit simply by taking the picture of this page and then asking you to respond as my student by using annotation feature. Okay. Again, as a teacher, you might want to clarify why is it that the other shape that you saw there, shape B, was not chosen, nggak kepilih shape B, because shape B does not contain equal parts. And of course, I've prepared it. Good teachers need to be prepared. So I've prepared that one shape that I know you will not choose. This is how it look like. Wah, Miss, nggak sama colornya. Iya, tapi bentuknya sama ya. So we can just take this one as the model. Okay, yeah, some of you also answer A and C. Thank you very much in the chat box. So if this is the circle, again, the way for me to show it is I will just cut this into 3 parts. And then let's compare those 3 parts to see if those 3 parts are equal or unequal. All right. These are the 3 parts. The first and the third part actually are almost the same size, but then this part in the middle clearly is not the same. Let me just bring my camera a little bit closer. Okay, nah sama ya. Jadi you are right. Great class. You're able to decide correctly which parts are equal and which parts are not equal. So class, whenever we talked about fraction, we are talking about equal parts. So now they are ready to get introduced to the symbol of fraction. Wah, ternyata tahapan dan prosesnya ada beberapa ya. There has to be certain steps that we are willing to take as a teacher to guide the students so they will make sense of this. In mathematics, it's important that our goal is making the concept make sense for the student. Ya, make sense itu kalau mereka akhirnya bisa punya aha moment, right? Aha, oh, I get it. Oh yeah, right? Those are some good indications that your student makes sense of the concept. Kalau nggak make sense, then they will just take a look at this number. Oh, there's 1, there's 2. Oh, what is 1 and 2? Right? So there's a missed information there. They are not making connection. So here, this is what we call an abstract stage. Why is it abstract? Let me just show you another animation I have here. Take a look at this one that I circle. 1/2. For us, it makes complete sense because we are the teachers. We know what this means. But unless we are introducing this with the proper stages, which we have done together, concrete first and then picture, this may not make any sense to them. So this one says each part is 1/2. Ada gambar yang sama. I think this is a kue serabi ya. I'm from Jawa Barat. So in Jawa Barat, there's a lot of kue serabi. So this one is divided into 2 parts. Well, perhaps some of your students who are more critical will say, how do we know it's exactly half? How do we know it's exactly 2 equal parts? Karena kan bentuknya sedikit nggak regular ya. But I think they got the idea. This is almost similar. 1/2, 1/2, 1/2. This is the way you write 1/2. 1/2 is an example of fractions. And of course, the word fractions is bold again, because that's a key term. So class, 1/2 is an example of fractions. I have a follow-up question here. Very, very important that we clarify again. So here you see 2 numbers, isn't it? 1 and 2. In 1 fraction, in half, you see 2 numbers, 1 and 2. What does number 1 mean? What does number 2 mean? All right, perhaps you can speak up. What does the number 1 and the number 2 mean in this fraction? Ada yang mau bicara? Boleh pakai raise hand lagi, and then our team will identify who you are. The question I'm asking at the moment is, what does the number 1 and the number 2 mean in this notation, in this half? Yes, Miss Farida.
Miss Farida, yeah.
Yes. Go ahead, Miss Farida.
Yeah, you can unmute first.
Diaktifkan dulu mikrofonnya supaya suaranya terdengar. Thank you.
Okay, Miss. I'm sorry. Hang on. I use 2 devices here. So.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I think if you're using 2 devices, maybe the other device should be non-active, yeah, the sound, so that it does not come as that signal. Okay, go ahead. What does number 1 mean and what does number 2 mean?
Yeah, number 1 means I think it's a part of a whole. So it is called as numerator, and then the 2 is the whole. Actually, how many parts are there as a whole? So it's called as denominator.
Okay, I think okay, thank you, Miss. Maybe you can mute yourself again. I think what I caught from your sentence is you mentioned something about equal parts and there's also whole. That's one idea. Thank you. Maybe one more answer. What does the number 1 mean and what does the number 2 mean? Take a look at the picture to get some ideas. What does the number 1 show you and what does the number 2 show you?
We have Miss Indriani raising her hand. Miss Indriani?
Sure, we can allow her to unmute herself.
Yeah. Hello, Miss Indriani. Still muted, yes?
Ada juga beberapa lewat chat ya, WhatsApp seperti
yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Miss Indriani. Okay.
Okay, I think for the first, angka satunya itu it means as numerator or ones, ya, atau satuan. And then the numbers 2 itu juga bisa diartikan denominator or tens atau puluhan.
Okay, thank you, Miss Indriani.
Thank you.
Let me also check
Yes, you're welcome.
what's in the chat. Oh, yang di chat masih yang tadi ya. One whole thing and divided into 2 equal parts. So if I'm referring again to the picture, certainly the picture of the kue sarabi, or we call it in the Western world, it's called pancake. Indonesians, of course, have pancakes. Our pancake is called sarabi. Okay, so the sarabi class is divided into 2 parts, 2 equal parts. Suppose I'm eating 1 part or I'm taking 1 part, that is 1/2, isn't it? So if I have 2 equal parts and I'm eating 1 part of 2 equal parts, that's 1/2. Okay. I know that the correct term, of course, is numerator and denominator, but the question I was asking was the goal of that question is really to try to make connection between what the students are looking in the picture and the meaning. What's the actual meaning of numerator? What's the actual meaning of denominator? A lot of times, I've done this lesson multiple times in my class. Some teachers would make comment as, you know, even to say the word denominator, it's like, you know, it could be a challenge for students and for themselves. So let me tell you the most important part conceptually in this part is how do we make sense of the meaning of those 2 words? So what is the denominator actually? Oh, it's the number of equal parts that we have in a whole. What's the numerator actually? Oh, it's the part that we take, the part that we shade. How many of those equal parts that we are thinking? Okay, so each of those parts is this, the numerator. The total number of equal parts is the number at the bottom. Okay, this is also what makes fractions sometimes confusing, is because you're looking at 2 whole numbers at once. So how do you make sense of it? So that's why the conceptual part is critical. And then later you can, of course, clarify what's numerator, what's denominator. And in order to clarify those 2 terms, I actually have a little surprise for you. Are you happy with the surprise? Usually my class loves surprise. Or not. Sometimes they will say, if the surprise is a quiz, I don't like it anymore. That's what they will say. But this is not a quiz. This is just a song. Please enjoy. And in the song, of course, you know that I will be asking you a question afterwards, right? So just enjoy, but also try to get some ideas or terms that you can identify from the video. So let me just play this.
There were 5 pieces in one whole pie. The denominator of the whole pie was 5. The numerator of my part was 3, as 3/5 of the pie was for me. My mom made the apple pie out of Granny Smith's. She asked me if I liked it. I said, I plead the 5th.
The numerator's the pie, the denominator's the whole, and fractions are parts of a whole.
Yeah, one more example. This one is actually
3 birds were on a telephone pole. The denominator 3 was the group as a whole. The numerator 2 out of the thirds. Describe the 2/3 that were bluebirds. The numerator 2 described how many were blue. Then something fell on my head. It was bird poo. Bird poo.
The numerator's the part, the denominator's the whole, and fractions are parts of a whole.
Right. Let me stop the video there so that not to take too much of our time. But go ahead and type in the chat box if you notice anything from the video. So what did you learn from that video? Perhaps you are learning new words. Perhaps you are learning from the pictures, right? Go ahead. I will give you some time, maybe 20 seconds to type something that you learn or something you observe from the video. And let's take a look at what each other has. Okay, let me stop sharing.
Yeah, we actually have a question here from Miss Winda Isabella, Miss Winda.
Yeah,
it's about how we say 1/2, we say 1/2, but can we say it 1 second? Because 1/3 is 1/3.
That's a really good question coming out from us because we are not native English speaker. Actually, there's no 1 second is never been used anywhere in the world. Okay, so for that one, it's a special case. It's called 1/2. I'm glad you asked because some students might also wonder about the same thing. 1/2 is special. It's just its own name. It's probably the same as, let me think about that. If you think of whole numbers, you think of 11, 12, 13. You think of 11 and 12, but then you get 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, right? And then it changed again to 20. So why is it so irregular? Don't ask me. It's the English people who made it. But 11 and 12 is also a special case. We do not call it, I don't know, 110. No, we don't call it, or 210. We just call it 11 and 12. So it's just a special case. For a quarter, however, that is such a good question. For a quarter, sometimes I hear people say a fourth of a tank, and it's still quite acceptable, even though it's less common, nggak umum, tapi masih mungkin. Tapi a quarter is more commonly used. Tapi kalau untuk half, memang hanya half saja. Very interesting music and video to teach fraction. Oh, thank you. Okay, numerators, the part dinyanyikan gitu ya. The denominators, the whole gitu diulang-ulang. So it helps the student to get the concept in their head. And for those students who are more musical, they will certainly appreciate the resource that you give in terms of multimedia. That's also the point of me showing that again, is because it is the use of multimedia. Blended learning utilizes multiple resources. Seperti tadi saya sudah bilang ya, seperti blender, we mix different things including video in our teaching. Kalau mau dapat seperti ini gimana ya, Miss? You can download it from a resource. Here, I'm just using it from YouTube. So I download the video, I put it in the PowerPoint. Okay. So let's have a final check before the first question answer time. The final check for you is simple as this. I have the name of the fraction. I have the symbol, I have the symbol for the fraction in the middle column. It's 1 and 5 combined. This is read as a fifth or 1/5. Okay, by the way, ini juga mungkin kalau tadi dari pertanyaannya, kita pakainya adalah cardinal numbers ya, the number that usually is used to show sequences. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, begitu. Okay, so now my question for you teachers is, or I guess if you're in my class, I would call you as students. So students, do you think you can draw a picture or a diagram? And mind you, I have just shown you a video that actually gives some clue for this one. Can you draw a picture or a diagram? Can you draw a model? Can you draw a picture to show 1/5? You may use any shape. It does not have to be a pie. It could be any shape. It could be, yeah, any kind of shape that you can think of. Let me give you 20 seconds and then we can see if any of you, perhaps some of you who did not get a chance earlier to show what you got, you can also show it and we can give you a spotlight. So the task right now is just draw it in your notebook. How do you show 1/5? How do you show a fifth? A fifth or 1/5 are two acceptable ways of saying this fraction. The numerator has to be 1 and the denominator is 5. How do you show that? Okay, let me stop sharing so you can, if you have an answer, if you're willing to show what you get as a diagram, maybe you can raise your hand and then we should be able to identify who you are. I'm also checking the camera right now. Usually if somebody is showing something in front of the camera, I can also identify who you are. Jadi digambar, sekarang kita coba gambar ya. Tadi kan ada concrete, kemudian juga ada pictorial. So I think ada Bapak Jatmiko ini sebentar ya. Oh, you have a pie and you divide it into 5 equal parts. You are shading one part. Very nice. That's 1/5. Thank you, Pak Jatmiko. 2 thumbs up. Any more? Or a different shape, perhaps? So the first shape was a circle divided into 5 parts. Wah, terlihat juga nih Miss Rizka sedang mencoba ya. Dari kameranya sudah nampak.
Yeah, we have some breads here from Miss Indriani.
Okay, go ahead. Bisa diberikan spotlight mungkin?
Yeah, already, Miss.
Let me see, speaker. Oh, ini misalnya bread, udah dikasih tahu. Yes, very nice. Roti sobek mungkin ya, my favorite. Divided into 5 parts, 1 part is a 5th. So this is also creativity ya, tergantung nanti muridnya mau pikir objeknya apa, kemudian divide into 5 parts. One last chance. Masih ada? So ternyata 5 equal parts itu bisa saja objeknya berlainan. Sebentar, ada Miss Aisyah di sini. Ini bikin seperti star ya Miss ya. It's like a star shape that you divide into 5 equal parts. Didekatkan lagi sekali lagi boleh Miss? Tadi masih, itu dia. Thank you so much. There are 5 equal parts. Setiap equal parts ini itu parallelogram ya, jajar genjang ya Miss ya. Jadi shape-nya lumayan kompleks. Very nice. Gitu. Okay, let me stop there. And then this is actually a good time for us to have a little bit of Q&A. So if from what I have shown you so far, you already have some questions, perhaps you would like to ask it at this point. Mungkin moderator bisa bantu ya, Ocha.
Yes, Miss Linda. So educators, if you have any question, you can use the raise hand feature or you can type it on the chat box. We are going to wait.
Let's wait for a bit. We can take some questions now. Atau mungkin bisa bantu juga dilihat kalau tadi mungkin masih ada pertanyaan from our activities that I did not get to do. Ini siapa ada yang bilang Sarabi ya?
Oh, Mr. Rudy have a question.
Okay, yes, sure.
Of course, Mr. Rudy, we are going to unmute you.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Rudy.
Hello, good morning, Miss
Good
Linda,
morning.
Miss Ocha, and every teachers here.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, thank you for your sharing. I just want to know, I have 2 slots of teaching Monday and Tuesday. Both are streaming every day. And then each meeting I have only 40 minutes in the Zoom. Now I just watch the way you teach us how to teach fraction, and it is only the basic concept. It is already more than 20 minutes. While the way I teach, I also add some exercises from the workbook like that. So now tell me how to manage the time to teach both textbook and workbook and to finish each topic on time. That is my question.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Linda.
Yeah. I'll try to answer your question. I'm glad that you asked this question, Mr. Rudy, because I believe this is a common concern. This is something that a lot of educators are feeling, including myself. How do we balance between teaching the student proper concepts as well as managing our time and still fulfilling the objective of the curriculum? First of all, I'm glad you also were observant of the time. Of course, the way that I taught the lesson today it's taking even longer than what a regular lesson would be because I stop and I discuss with you. Maybe you have noticed that. Also, secondly, I also stop to highlight the feature in the new maths champion that could be used. Jadi, kalau tadi kita observe the time, certainly it's added up to the time because I'm taking the time to explain what I did. But actually, if you're just doing the activity, it should not take that long. The way to try out, as long as the students are prepared with the material, I think usually in my own classes, doing a concrete activity never takes more than 5 minutes. It should be done in 5 minutes, including the discussion also, because the demonstration is quite simple. You ask the student to do and follow. Well, probably with the classroom management, if the classroom is a little bit noisy, mungkin sedikit lebih dari 5 menit ya. But I would not take more than that. Usually it's about 5 minutes. And then discussing the essence of the lesson could take another 10 or 15 minutes. Now you still have 20 minutes remaining to do the exercise. After this part is over, I would like to also show you another tool that we can use to check for understanding by using a web app, which is of course very flexible. Now to address your concern about the workbook, I think the question that I would like us to reflect on is how much of the questions in the workbook that we wish to cover. From me, as a trainer, I would say, if you take a look at the workbook and there are 20 questions, it doesn't mean that all 20 questions have to be done in that sitting, in that one sitting. Maybe you can use some of the questions for that session. Some of the questions can be for the asynchronous part of your lesson, which is homework. Jadi memang harus dibagi. And then even more, in terms of how do you determine which question to give a little bit later, perhaps you can think of looking at the different questions and then see from the level of difficulty. Because sometimes if you have 20 questions, maybe not all are actually difficult questions. Some are very easy and basic, and you might have covered it in your lesson. Some are middle, some are difficult or advanced. Then you divide which one you want to really discuss in your lesson, which one you can give to the students as homework. Jadi memang betul sekali, time management is a key, and the strategy is determined by us. So as a teacher, the mastermind behind the strategy is us. And then we hopefully in that 40 minutes, you can achieve what you need to achieve. That would be my answer, Mr. Rudy. Thank you. Okay, Ocha, did you also see other questions?
Yeah.
I think I see one question from Miss Yuli. Let me just read that, yeah?
Yeah.
How to manage big class in a blended learning? Can you tell me how big is your class?
Miss Yuli.
How many students? Maybe you can type if it's hard for you to activate your audio. I just want to get an idea how big is your class. Oh, 20, okay. It's standard. I used to teach class of 20 and 24. So 24 would be the maximum number. What I activate a lot of times, which you do not see in the session because we're in a big webinar and you do not really know each other unless you're coming from the same school. So it would be a little bit awkward if I try to use one feature called breakout room. You're probably quite familiar with it. Breakout room. That is good for a small group activity. I've used that a lot in my smaller classes. So a class of 20 would be ideal. You can create 4 groups. You can create 5 groups. There's also some tools that you can use in order to evoke discussion. For example, the Slido that I've used. You can also use this tool called Jamboard. Let me just type it in the chat box. This is a Google-based tool, and this tool is kind of like a virtual board in which everybody can give their opinion by posting it, and then someone can respond. So look for those tools to ensure that collaboration is happening in your lesson. So it's not just you. It will be very difficult, I agree, if you are just delivering your lesson using a PowerPoint and then you don't know what the students are doing, right? So every now and then, assign them a task, give them a question, allow them to interact. So then you will know that they're still following you and engage with the lesson. That would be my answer. Thank you, Miss Yuli. Ibu Lia, saya lihat ada raise hand juga. Silakan Ibu Lia. Iya,
Okay.
Marlina. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for your sharing, Mrs. Linda. The thing that I want to know, right now I'm teaching at a 5th grade, and this is our first year to teach math in our school. So when I compare the material to our student, to my students, they are still understand all of the math vocab because this is our first year. So the thing that I want to know, how the way when we have to teach the material to make our students understand the concept, but they already understand all of the vocab.
So they know what the term means, but they do not necessarily know the meaning behind those terms,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
it's a lot
the vocab,
like,
yeah.
Yeah,
This is
it's a
our
lot like,
first year.
oh, this is numerator, this is denominator, but what does that mean? Very good question, excellent question. And that is why I'm so glad you asked that question, because that is certainly why in your book, in New Maths Champion, the model drawing, pictures, concrete materials is being introduced very consistently, even since the students are in grade 1. And I believe there's, of course, multiple dimensions to this, but one is if as a school you are adopting this program, then that's the whole program that will be very supportive of the conceptual understanding from grade 1 until grade 6. So then by the time the students are in grade 6, and then you're talking about fractions, they should have that concept and that picture. Oh, 1 and 2. Kalau ada kue serabi, berarti ada 2 pieces and then 1 piece that I take. So that cannot be introduced in an instant. So I would say with the model that New Maths Champion has set up, it should already support your students. One of the tools practically for you, because you're in grade 5, one of the tools that is very, very useful there in the book is look for the model drawing or the bar model. So it looks like a rectangle and it's divided into different parts. It's very useful for problem solving particularly. Now, to address other areas of vocabularies that students familiar, but they do not know the meaning of, I would say expose them to some activities that will enable them to use concrete or picture. So they will connect it. So like, for example, the term, let's say the term in geometry, parallel and perpendicular. What is parallel? What is perpendicular? It's best to just show them a picture. This is parallel. This is also parallel lines. This is perpendicular. What do you notice? Is that a difference that you notice? Bedanya apa? Gitu. Jadi using picture is really helpful in developing that conceptual understanding, and that's the stage also that's being promoted, of course, in New Maths Champion. Thank you, Miss Leah.
Yeah. Okay, Ms. Linda, I think that's all for the first Q&A session. No worries, Bapak Ibu.
We will have it again later, yeah? Okay.
Second session, but
thank you.
Before we continue to the next session, while you may want to relax for a short while, allow us to show a video from the CEO and founder of Mentari Group, Ibu Ana Rimbapoa, to quickly update you on the latest Mentari Group's breakthrough initiative to support reading literacy in Indonesia.
Halo Bapak Ibu Guru yang saya hormati, saya Ana Rimbapoa, founder dan CEO Mentari Group. Saya ingin mengajak Bapak Ibu sekalian untuk berkenalan dengan satu buku yang sangat istimewa yang baru selesai diterbitkan oleh Asta Ilmu Sukses Mentari Group. Kenapa spesial? Karena buku ini ditulis oleh 16 anak Indonesia usia muda, rata-rata 9-12 tahun, seusai mengikuti kelas menulis cerita. Buku ini kita beri judul, Bagaimana Kalau 16 Anak Indonesia Menulis Cerita. Mengapa kita ingin menerbitkan buku ini, Bapak Ibu sekalian? Ada 3 alasan. Pertama, karena kita ingin mengapresiasi karya dari anak-anak. Kita ingin berikan wadah supaya kreativitas anak dan bakat anak-anak bisa bertumbuh. Ibaratnya mereka adalah tunas-tunas muda yang nanti akan bertumbuh menjadi bunga atau buah yang manis. Kita akan dukung dan berikan perhatian supaya janganlah sampai mereka menjadi bunga yang layu sebelum berkembang. Kedua, kita juga ingin membantu menumbuhkan minat baca anak. Dengan mendesain suatu buku yang isinya secara khusus bisa memancing anak-anak untuk ikut membaca, itu tujuan dari menyusun buku ini. Jadi di dalam buku Bagaimana Kalau kita buat sedemikian rupa supaya anak-anak terpancing untuk membaca. Dan kita ketahui apabila minat membaca anak sudah tumbuh, anak yang senang membaca akan mempunyai kecerdasan yang lebih tinggi, konsentrasi yang lebih baik, fokus, dan tidak heran kalau anak-anak yang minat membacanya baik akan berprestasi secara akademik. Ketiga, kita juga berharap anak-anak yang membaca buku ini juga nanti terpancing, termotivasi untuk ikut menulis buku. Sehingga keseluruhan kita akan punya generasi muda, anak-anak yang senang membaca dan juga senang menulis. Mari kita dukung bersama Bapak Ibu program ini supaya bisa terjadi generasi muda Indonesia yang punya minat baca tinggi dan juga pandai menulis. Ayo kita lihat isi bukunya. Buku ini memang seperti saya sampaikan tadi, kita buat menarik gitu ya, dengan ilustrasi yang menggelitik dan juga dibuat oleh anak-anak juga. Unik, menggelitik, ngegemesin, isi ceritanya juga judulnya lucu-lucu, kelinci dan bulan, spaghetti bertemu hujan, dunia monster. Bagaimana kalau bayangan tidak mengikutiku? What if the chicken become extinct? Bye-bye chicken. Jadi ini ada bahasa Indonesia, ada bahasa Inggris, karena otentik, kita tidak terjemahkan apa adanya yang anak-anak tulis. Kita juga buat ini sesuai dengan cerita anaknya, ada yang pendek 1 halaman, ada yang 2 halaman, maksimum 3 halaman. Sengaja ini, karena kalau mau menumbuhkan minat baca, kita nggak boleh langsung kasih panjang-panjang ya. Ibaratnya kita berikan snack membaca. Jadi baca dulu yang pendek. Kalau yang pendek senang, seru, mau baca lagi yang agak panjang. Tidak sadar atau bacanya udah panjang. Jadi udah mulai tumbuh deh senang bacanya. Kurang lebih seperti itu. Ilustrasinya juga unik ya. Sehingga kita harapkan anak-anak menjadi senang membaca. Baiklah Bapak Ibu sekalian, ayo kita dukung. Bagaimana cara mendukungnya? Ya, Bapak Ibu bisa memesan, kemudian membacanya, dan juga rekomendasikan ke anak Bapak Ibu sekalian atau murid-murid Bapak Ibu di sekolah supaya mereka juga memiliki buku ini kemudian membacanya. Dan yang penting setelah membaca mereka bisa coba-coba menulis gitu. Dan kirim ceritanya ke Mentari Group. Siapa tahu terseleksi untuk diterbitkan menjadi cerita. Karena kita punya cita-cita buku ini akan berseri-seri Bapak Ibu. Dan siapa tahu murid Bapak Ibu bisa menjadi salah satu penulis buku berseri berikutnya. Dan berita baiknya, semua keuntungan penjualan buku ini kita akan sumbangkan untuk pengembangan literasi anak-anak Indonesia. Demikian Bapak Ibu sekalian, salam literasi dari saya. Terima kasih.
Yeah, wow, educators, I'm sure many of you can't wait to see and read the writing produced by young Indonesian talented writers. And for more information, it will be shared at the end of the session. And now we will proceed to the second session. Ms. Linda, you can continue the session.
Yeah, thank you, Ocha, for the information you shared. Okay, Bapak Ibu, let's come back. If you did not get a chance to ask questions, do not worry. By the end of the session, we will still open up QA session. So feel free to answer your questions then. Now, in this part, just before we enter into the second teaching demo, which will be about equivalent fraction, we will just do a simple exercise. You mentioned something about fun, about game, and that kind of thing. So let's try to do something like that to also assess our understanding of fractions so far. I am sharing this link with you so that you will, if you wish to open that in your computer also, so you can save it and use it sometime, you will be able to do it. It's accessible for anyone, and I have also opened up mine. This will be an excellent opportunity for you to also participate. So if you wish to contribute in this exercise, feel free to do that. So let me click on this one. I will just click on level 2. Talking about the number of questions, there's many questions here, but I will just choose level 2. So a level that will be doable for a lot of people, I think. So in this exercise, it's quite simple. You see that there are some pictorial representations, so some diagrams, kind of like what you have seen and you have shown me as well. There's also some symbol of fractions, such as a third, 3/4, and 1/2. So the question here is to match a picture with the name of the fraction, or you may also match 2 pictures that show the same fraction, the same value, the same exact value. Let me give an example. I will show 1/3 maybe. So this is a symbol. At this stage, if I were to be successful at answering this question, I have to know what fraction is being represented. Okay, I know this is 1/3. What do I remember about a third? I should have 3 equal parts and 1 part that is shaded. I believe the picture is this. And I will hit the button check. Okay, if I get that ding sound and a smiley, it means I get a correct answer. That's okay. So now, if you wish to participate, again, use the raise hand feature. And what you can tell me, I will just drag all of this for you, so it will be simpler. What you can tell me is you can indicate, okay, which row that I want to choose, which column that I want to choose. So you can choose first row, first column, and I can drag this for you, okay? Does anyone want to participate on this one? You may raise hand one more time so our team can identify who you are and enable your microphone.
Is there anyone who would like to participate? You can use the raise hand feature. Oh, we have Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah, go for it, Miss Elizabeth. Hello.
Yes, 1 second.
Okay, so the first row, the second picture?
Yes.
Okay. What else? Which one is the matchbook?
1 second.
Yes, I've chosen this one. So this will be a picture of a fraction. Which of the options available is the correct match for this? Can be a number or can also be another picture.
Another picture, okay.
Yeah.
Circle ball.
You found it. This is also divided into 3 equal parts. Of course, in the class, you can then ask your student what fraction is being shown. It's 2/3, okay? Nah, kalau sudah masuk lebih dari 1, numeratornya kita harus bilang pakai S belakangnya ya. 2/3, 3/4, pakai S. Silakan Ocha, boleh choose the next person?
Yeah, we have Mr. Jatmiko Aji.
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you, Miss Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Still morning, yeah, I'm sorry, still morning now.
Depends on which area you're coming from.
Oh, I see. Nice. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me which one to choose.
Okay. 3/4.
3/4, okay.
Yes, 3/4.
Which one will be the correct match for that, sir?
Picture in the corner on the top and right top in the corner.
Right top corner. I like it. 4 equal parts, 3 parts are shaded with green. That is correct. Well done, Pak Jatmiko.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Pa.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Maybe we can give to Miss Lydia this time. I just saw
Hello,
your
Miss
hand.
Lydia. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay, Miss, can I annotate?
Sure. Easier,
Okay.
yeah, for you to choose.
Okay. This one. And then this one.
You found a more efficient way of doing this. I like
Cool.
it. So both are divided
you,
into
Miss
6
Lydia.
equal parts. Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Lydia.
Yeah, welcome,
And of
Miss.
course, you got it right.
Okay,
So
thank you.
this is also good because you see in this particular answer, the 2 shapes are different, but they are still showing the same fraction because you see 6 equal parts and 2 parts that are shaded. So you can also insert this kind of comments to solidify the student understanding of equal parts. Tinggal 2 lagi ya, so 2 more people and then we will move on to the next concept. Miss Gita, maybe?
Let's Miss Ade first, Miss Nini.
Oh, okay. Okay, sure.
Hello, Miss Ade.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes. So now you have a choice. You can tell me which one or you can annotate just like what Miss Lydia did.
I think is 1/2 is equal with the pictures with square with the blue one.
The square with the blue parts. 2 parts and 1 part is shaded blue. Let's check.
Okay.
Well done. You remember our lesson about serabi. Good
Thank
job.
Thank you, Miss Ade.
So the last one, I don't think it's fair, yeah, to give to you because you know that this is the only choices available. But it's okay. We can give to Miss Gita and you can tell all of us what fraction is being shown by the two pictures.
Hello, Miss Gita.
Hello, Miss
Yeah,
Gita.
thank you, Miss Linda and Sancha. Because this is the last one, I think all of you guys know about the green one and the red and white. That's the equal.
Yes. Can you tell us what fraction is being shown by both the green and the red picture?
2/4. For
2/4. Yes. Very good. How do you know it's 2/4?
In bahasa 2/4.
Yeah. How do you know? What tells you in the picture that this is 2/4? Why not 1/3? Taunya dari mana ya?
Because the color.
Oh, okay. The shaded part, there are two parts and there are four equal parts. Yes, very good. Okay, thank you so much, Miss Gita. Wah, Miss Linda yang terakhir ditanya 3 question ya. The lucky, not lucky number 1, the lucky last person. Okay, well done, everybody. So, and this is done in multiple levels. So if you're thinking of doing similar kind of activity with more advanced class, older groups, or just simply more advanced class, you just adjust the level accordingly. So talking about exploration, of course, when we are exploring, that's part of exploring the tools that are available in the I was talking the other day to a class, actually in the internet is the plethora of resources, which means it's lots and lots and lots of resources you can use. Okay, so let's go into part 2. You've been waiting for some time for the part 2, so we will still continue our discussion. Sorry, this was still from the previous part. Let me pick it up from this. Part 2, equivalent fractions. So here's the part again. Now this part is called play this game, but this is actually from NMC, but this part is actually about concrete, using concrete materials again. And students are able to do this individually or with a group. At this time, I will just show it, of course, for a real session. Okay, so if you have your paper strip, you might want to have it available. The picture says it all, but basically, we would like to be able to show 2 different ways of folding these papers into 3 parts and then into 6 parts. Okay, let me show you what the picture look like. One part is shaded, and then we will fold it one more time and we will compare the different parts. So what I will do right now is to show you exactly that. So if you have me, who is that? Okay, so if I have this paper strip, I have a few of them. I would like to fold this paper strip, so I will get 3 equal parts. Nah, 3 itu agak susah ya, jadi mungkin seperti inilah kira-kira ya, supaya dapatnya 3 parts. You can also, of course, choose a different parts. Kalau mau 4 dan 8 misalnya supaya lebih gampang juga boleh. Boleh-boleh saja. It's just to give you the idea. So I will get 3 equal parts. And then from this part, according to the instruction, so see, simple as that, probably 30 seconds if you're thinking of the time. And then I would like to highlight the different parts here on the paper strip. Okay, so 3 parts. And then the next step should be highlight 1 part. I will just highlight it by making dots. So I'm making the dots on the left side. And of course, in a class, you may ask your student, okay, student, at this time or at this stage, what is the shape? What does the shape tell you? What fraction is shown by the shape, by the paper strip? Okay, how many equal parts do you see? 3 equal parts. And how many parts is shaded or marked? 1 part. So what fraction is being shown here? 1/3. Okay, so that's the first one. And then the first step, second step is let's fold the paper again. So from this stage, I would like to fold the paper again in half. Bukan sulap, bukan sihir ya, just a concept math, okay? Okay, so now I open it again, and then I think to make it easier for you to observe, I will mark the new parts. So I will mark the new lines that were not present before. Simple as that. And this is even called play, right? Play with this one. So it's not complicated. It's a simple process. Now, if I show it to you, still the same paper, right? Still the same paper that you saw before. I just fold it again one more time. That's what I got. Now, if this is what I have, maybe you have to take a look at it this way. How many equal parts do you see on my paper now? 6 parts. How many parts are marked or shaded? 2 parts, okay? So what will be the conclusion? Perhaps if in the class, I can also change the language. If that is a little bit too difficult, I can also change the language. So what can you tell from here? We got a third, we got to 6. Oh, equal, says Pak Rudi. It's equal fraction. Do you see that this is actually still the same part of the same whole, isn't it? Masih sama panjang kan? Masih tidak ditambah kan yang dikasih tandanya? So it's still the same part of the same whole. Oh, a third is equal to 6. Very good. 6 and 1/3 are actually the same thing. Equal, same value, sama besar, yeah, same size. Some people might say, very good. Ooh, so somebody already say this is an equivalent fraction, okay? Because of the time, I'm not going to ask you to show your result in the camera again, but I'm sure you know how to do this kind of activity. Is very simple, okay? Just a third and 2/6, and then you may as well do this with other fractions, as I have said. Maybe a quarter and 2/8, maybe 1/2 and 2/4 to start with. It's just 1/2, I think, is very common. So that's why the example here is 1/3 to make something that's a little different from what the student have seen. So thank you so much. So you have seen that 1/3 and 2/6 are basically the same thing from the same whole. So here I also have some pictures. Before I say what this picture is about, this is kind of like our paper strip. I just want you to observe, to take a look at what is being shown in the picture. I'm sure you already know the name of these fractions from previous lesson: 1/2, 1/4, 1/8. I'm also sure you're able to notice the different number of equal parts in each of the paper strip. Maybe you can type again in the chat box, what do you notice from this picture? What do you observe from the different parts that's colored blue, lime green, and orange? Blue, green, orange. 1/4, 1/2, 2/4, 4/8. What do you notice of those 3 fractions? Let me take a look at your answers. Oh, same amount of shading. They are equivalent, same amount, same amount. Okay, so that's also something I just modeled to you. Something that you want your student to notice is, even though the names of these fractions are all different, 1/2, 2/4, 4/8, they're all coming from the same whole, and they're all the same size, right? Same exact size. Perhaps if you want to even put them closer together, you can prepare something similar and then put them right next to each other. So it's very obvious that the length of the parts are exactly the same. So you can name it 1/2 or 2/4, bukan 1/4, but 2/4 and 4/8. And those 3 are the same because the whole is the same. Jadi penting juga untuk menekankan bahwa whole-nya, keseluruhannya itu harus sama. Karena kalau whole-nya berbeda, half of two different wholes tentu nggak sama ya. Kalau yang satu lebih panjang kertasnya ya setengahnya pasti lebih panjang juga, begitu konsepnya. So it's still the same parts of the same whole, even though they are named differently. So here's the explanation in the book. This is now moving on to New Maths Champion Level 4. So those of you who are teaching at this level, you will see this diagram in your book number 4. So the fractions have different numerator and denominators. But half is equal to 2/4. Half is also equal to 4/8. Of course, 2/4 and 4/8 also are the same. So this is what we mean by equivalent fractions. So if you were to expand this a little bit in your class, you may also ask the question, so can you tell me what does it mean by equivalent fraction, right? And students can come up with different explanations, but basically the main idea is the parts are exactly the same or the size of the fractions are the same, even though the names are different. Itu kan equivalent fraction, namanya berbeda, tapi ukurannya tetap sama. Now, I would like to also highlight one more feature in New Maths Champion, that is the digital interactive. This is available in the ebook version. So let me just show it to you and then you can participate again in this part of the lesson. So every time you see this icon, it means a digital interactive is available. Some of you were also asking how can you make it more interactive and fun when it's time for you to teach in your classroom using technology. This is an excellent tool that's already available in the ebook series of New Maths Champion. Okay, so I'm now opening the book to page 73. You have seen this in the PowerPoint. So those are the pictures that shows the different names of the fractions, and those are equivalent fractions. Now, I would like to go into the digital interactive. And this is also quite a simple yet fun activity. So in this activity, basically, the questions is always finding the equivalent fraction by using the diagram below. Now, usually, I already know what some of you are thinking. In this part of the lesson, usually kan dikali kan? Kali 6 berarti atasnya juga kali 6. Now, the question would be, how do we make sense of that? Why is that procedure work? How do you answer that? Okay. This activity can certainly be the answer to that question. So here in the, there are two fraction bars or two paper strips, you may call that. Two paper strips being compared. The first one at the top has two equal parts, as you can see, and one part is shaded green. The part at the bottom, the fraction strip at the bottom is colored orange, and it's one whole. Everything is colored. Okay. Now we want to find out 1/2 is equivalent to what over 12, right? So you see that this whole should be divided into 12 parts because the denominator is 12, so we know it should be divided into 12 parts. So, okay, maybe I went too quick on that one. If this is one whole and I want to divide it into 12 parts, all I need to do is just to drag this part at the bottom towards the left. The more I went to the left, the smaller pieces that I will get. So now I get 1/8, 1/9, 1/10, 1/12. There you go. I have 12 equal parts. Okay, and the next stage would be, how do I show a fraction that will be equivalent to half? Then I have to shade the part, the orange part, as many as the green part. So I will just keep going to the right until I get the same amount. Clear enough? So once I get the same amount, compare. Okay, same amount, I'll check it. Okay. And then I click on this. All right, so 1/2 is equivalent to what? 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Click on the 6. Oh, 1/2 and 6/12 are equivalent fraction. Check it. Yeah, once you see the mouse is jumping around, it means you get the correct answer. And this is the final thing, is they are showing, notice this, 2 times 6 equals 12, 1 times 6 equals 6, okay? All right, maybe we have a time for one person to try this one, try the feature. I will switch on to the new problem. If you want to get a feel, nah kebetulan ini angkanya nggak terlalu besar ya, so it should be quite easy for you. If you want to get a feel on how to use this, I can give you a remote control. So if you wish to do that, if you know how to request a remote control, you can request one and I will give you access to my page. Ada yang mau? Yes, Miss Dewi ya? Okay, Miss Dewi, you should be able. Yes. So we see the fraction is 12/15 and we want to find something equivalent to 12/15. Very nice. You have to go just a little bit more to the left to get 1/5. Very nice. Go a little bit too far. Yes. Okay, and then she is marking it so that it's the same length as the green part. Very nice. Check first. Click on the box. Very good. Wow, you're fast at this. Very nice. Thank you so much, Miss Dewi. Can you give the control back to me? It's that easy ya. Hanya tinggal digeser, kita sudah bisa showing the students the concept. And I'm also glad that the second example is starting off with more parts and then going to less part. We know that this is also another way to find equivalent fraction. When you have more parts, it means you divide. So you divide 15 by 3, you divide 12 by 3, you get 4/5. Now this way, students hopefully do not consider finding equivalent fraction as a magic, okay? But it actually has some reason behind it. So thank you for trying that with me. Yes, so showing with a picture and certainly with a concrete step will also help the student. I believe I have one more game to play with you all. This can also be used as a way to check for student understanding. So let me share the page with you. All right. So now you should know that equivalent fraction means whenever the parts are exactly the same, even though the names might be different. Okay, I can also show you one more and maybe you can participate through chat just to make it a little bit more efficient. So remember what I said as a teacher when it comes to blended learning.
Shade the model to represent 16
Yeah.
over 6.
That's the instruction. Let me just mute the instruction first. But if I unmute this audio, there will be some sound in the background because this is an ocean. So you see the sound of the ocean, right? Okay, so let me mute that again. So it's consistent with what we have done so far. This one is actually even simpler. It's just shading the model to represent certain fraction. Okay, so if you're looking for something like this, an exercise, you can certainly give something similar. Shade the model to represent 16/6. Okay, in each whole, how many parts is it divided into? It's divided into 6. So each of the part should be 6. So shade the model to represent 16/6. All I need to do is just pick 16 box. And then how many do I got so far? 6 and 6 make 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Shade the model to represent 15 over 6.
Simple as that. Now for this one, the fraction being shown is 15/6. I guess you can type in the chat box. So how many parts should I shade?
Yeah, we have answers 15.
15. So in each there is 6. It means you will shade all 6 in here. You will also shade all 6 in here. 4, 5, 6. That make 12. And then you will shade 3. Okay, simple
Shade
as
the
that.
model to represent 9/4.
Yeah, let me stop sharing. You get the idea. So sometimes you can use interactives, you can use games in your teaching or in checking for understanding. So now, somebody is asking, can we just try the wrong answer? Pak, how do I call your name, Pak? Bapak Nasib Uratmo Manik? I think he's asking something for the previous interactive. Saya coba tunjukkan ya, Bapak, there's a question that's asking, what if you are not showing the correct answer? Very good question. What will you get? Let me go back here. If you do not show the correct answer, so let's say I have to divide this first into, well, once you're checking, that's what it will show. Find the other equivalent fraction. So it will prompt you as a student. Okay, this is not a correct part. Such a good question, Pak. You're already thinking how to make use of this in a real class, right? So find the other equivalent fraction. It means I have to divide it into even smaller parts. So I will just go all the way. Sabar ya Bapak Ibu, karena bagiannya ini saya dapatnya yang 20. So we have to be a little bit patient with each other here. 119, there you go. So let's say I do not mark it correctly. I will go to check again. That's what it will show me. And actually there's a prompt. You must make these two diagrams of the same length. Jadi ada bantuan ya, same length. Oke, tadi juga lihat nggak ya tikusnya bengong begitu ya? Maksudnya help, help, salah gitu. Oke, so 2/20, check, there you go, and then do the same thing. What happened if I pick the wrong number again? The mice is bengong again. Fill according to the diagram you made. Okay, so count again. It should be a 2/20 instead of 3/20. So let's check. Okay, I hope I answered your question. I'm so glad that question came up because it has to do with the practicalities of the tool. Very good. Thank you so much, Pak, for asking that question. All right. We're about 1 more minute left. So what I will do is I will briefly conclude our session, and then we are ready for the last bit of question and answer section. Okay, let me just go back to my screen one more time. So Bapak Ibu, in this session, you have already seen multiple activities. Let's go back here first. So, okay, so in this session, Bapak Ibu, I would like to introduce you to a diagram. But before that, in this session, we have done multiple activities from NMC. That's our main reference, as well as from the digital interactive. NMC is written to address the competency dasar or the basic competencies required for math curricula from Indonesian government. However, the method that is being used in the book is coming from the Singapore Curriculum Math Framework. So let me just introduce this to you. What do we need to know about the Singapore method? Basically, there are two things. The first one is the math problem solving at the heart of the curriculum, which means when we are teaching math, we do not teach the students so they can calculate and then find the correct answer. But we teach mathematics so that the student can be a more effective problem solver. They can think deeply about the concept. They can make connections. They do not just know the terms, as what one of you have mentioned, but they know the meaning of those terms. In order to achieve that goal, the processes required would be some of these. Let me highlight two of them. First one is reasoning. It has to do with higher order thinking skills. So the ability to analyze, to evaluate, and to be creative. And then the other thinking skills that are required as well in the process. Okay, so that students can have more aha moments. They can make connections. They can engage with the concepts. They're not just like calculators, able to calculate. The next thing is, this is the CPA approach. I would like to just highlight one more time. Sorry, the word is still pendekatan, yeah, because sometimes we are making use of bilingual presentation. It's a CPA approach, which stands for these tools: concrete, pictorial, and abstract. Concrete is the doing stage. It means that we are using concrete objects to make the concept alive. We are allowing students to use manipulatives. Okay, manipulatives simply mean any concrete objects that you can use in order to illustrate a concept. In our lesson today, we have made use of some paper cuts, paper strips, origami paper, a pair of scissors. Anything that can be touched can be in the concrete stage of the learning. Pictorial stage means the seeing stage. Can the students see the picture? Can they visualize? If you tell them 1/3, what do they have in their mind? What kind of picture do they have? So that's why there's lots and lots of picture as well that you saw in this presentation, sorry. And then lastly is the abstract. Whenever we are using symbols, mathematical symbols, operation symbols, such as plus, minus, multiplication, etc., it's abstract stage. Okay, so concrete, pictorial, and abstract. This is consistently in your book NMC. So do not worry, as long as you're taking a look at the sequences there, you will be able to follow the stages just fine. And then finally, just a final reminder, these are the different features in your book. I've already went into greater details, but this is again to help you as you plan for your lessons coming ahead. Please make use of these features. They are very special features available for you. So use that in your planning and delivering a lesson. I think that will be it from me. I will just conclude there. And then this is the time for us for final Q&A, right, Ocha?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, thank you, Ms. Linda, for sharing about blended learning. And we come to the final Q&A session. Well, actually, during you delivering the session, there is a question from Miss Ria Marlina again. Miss Linda, is it fine if I teach math in 2 languages? So actually, the class should be in English, math in English. But since this is their first time learning mathematics in English, so is it fine to deliver it in bilingual to make their students get used to math in English? What do you think about this, Ms. Linda?
The last part, so that I can build what wall? Put the vocabularies on the wall or something?
To make our students get used to with math in English.
Yeah, certainly. And if we're talking about NMC specifically, I've been pointing out to the features there in which the word are bold, equal, unequal. You might want to start with that. So introducing those terms to the students so they know what that means. Tapi mungkin masih mix maksudnya begitu ya. Cannot be fully in English yet. It's okay. I would say take it one step at a time and also discuss something like this in a larger community in your school. Jadi semuanya konsisten maksud saya. So if you're teaching certain grade level and there's a parallel class, maybe this will be good to bring up next time you have a meeting with that teacher so that you will agree what are the main terms we want the students to understand. What are some of the things that we can also complement with Indonesian language? I would say that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Linda. And also a question from Mr. Nasib. So if you are being the teacher, what is the best response if the students answer incorrectly? For instance, when you are showing the fraction interactive tools in NMC and the answer is incorrect, what will you do? What is the best response as a teacher?
Yes, I love this question a lot because this is very real. How do you respond as a math teacher? Math adalah ilmu pasti ya. It's an exact study. Do you just say good job, and smile? And the student do not know if it is wrong? I would give you something, and I'll try to type this also in the chat box afterwards, or Ocha can help me if you can get the idea of this. So there are 4 stages in which a math teacher should respond to a mistake. This is something I learned recently also. The first one, a mistake is expected. So Ocha can help me, just type the word expected. That would be number 1. And then number 2, after you expect means because mathematics is just a difficult subject, right, for many. So it's just expected. It's a natural thing to make mistake. Secondly, we want the mistake to be respected. That's the second word, Ocha. Thank you. So the second is respected. And then the third one, this is the part that we have to do, right? We don't want to just respect, oh yeah, it's okay to make mistake, just make some more. What? No. The next one, the mistake should be inspected. So that's the third part, inspected. We will try to find out, oh, how come of all the people in this class, this 2% or these 2 students are choosing this number? Oh, let's find out. Why is that? Why do you think that this answer is correct, right? So inspected, and final answer or final stage, of course, corrected. Yeah, so expected, respected, inspected, and corrected. So those will be the stages that I will go through. I'll try to do that even more consistently as I'm teaching the lessons. So it is basically, in a nutshell, mistakes is a very common thing in a math class, but let's find out. Okay, let's find out and then let's fix it together. Usually that's going to be my approach. Of course, it may not happen always in formal stages like that, but I think even more importantly, Pa, in your question, I would encourage all of us here, how do we build a culture of trust in our math class? That's another big question. So that students will really trust each other as well as you as an instructor. They do not have to be perfect all the time because they are still learning, and what matters is they desire to grow and they persevere through it. Okay, so it's a really good opportunity for us to also instill that value in the students. Okay, be confident, but it's okay to make mistakes as long as you keep growing. Yeah, that would
Thank you so much, Ms. Linda.
I think that would be it given the time, right?
Okay, there is also a question from Mr. Christophorus. When it comes for scoring or assessment, are there any ideas for integrating maths into a project so students know the implementation of maths in the real world?
Yeah, certainly. One of the ideas, of course, or one of the topics, because this question can go on its own webinar actually, but one of the ideas that I will give you, or one of the topics that is very easy to incorporate into other subjects, will be statistics, data. So anytime you take a look at the data content, it could easily be inserted into language, it could be inserted into art, could be inserted into PE, so you can collaborate with the teachers of those subjects in order to see the application of data, bar graph, pie graph, for example. I think I had students one time working on a project on like healthy eating habits, something like that. And then fitness or exercise, so they can easily gather a data and then talk about the data, interpret it together in the class. One time I had a project with, this was lower secondary actually, grade 7. So those of you who are teaching grade 6, maybe can consider this. At the time, it was not pandemic, of course. I brought them to a nearby coffee shop. Jadi coffee shop, or like in the mall, they can choose coffee shop or like bubble tea shop. And then I just asked them to sit down for 1 hour and then make observations of what people order. I told them they like a spy. I was diam-diam, saya bilang ya. But you observe what they order, and then later you make a graph and then try to analyze the trend, try to see why people order certain type on that hour. They love that project, of course, because they can also order, right? But yes, certainly data, start with that. And then for the other ideas, of course, you can also collaborate by talking to the other subject teachers. Sometimes we get ideas because sometimes we do not get as many ideas because we are focusing on our content areas. By talking to other teachers, what are some of the subjects that you're talking about this month that can open up opportunities as well? Yeah. Thank you, Ocha.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Linda. I think one more. Would you recommend some website or apps to teach maths? Maybe kind of for maths fun activities. Well, actually the links that you have been shown us before is already stated in the handout, yeah, Ms. Linda? right?
That is right. That is right. So Ocha's answer is already an answer to that. If you wish to do some activities, just like what we did in this session, later on when you download the handout, the links will all be there.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Miss Linda. Well, educators, due to the limited time, I'm sorry, but we have to end the Q&A session. But don't worry. If you still have any question, you can contact our content and curriculum help desk. Oke, jadi Bapak Ibu jika masih ada pertanyaan mengenai konten atau kurikulum, Bapak Ibu dapat mendapatkan informasi lebih lanjut dengan menghubungi content and curriculum help desk. Jadi content and curriculum help desk ini adalah suatu layanan konsultasi khusus diberikan untuk sekolah-sekolah yang mengadopsi program Mentari Group. Kami hadir untuk mendampingi guru-guru dalam hal menerapkan pembelajaran. Dan content and curriculum help desk ini tidak dipungut biaya apapun Bapak Ibu, karena ini adalah layanan konsultasi dari kami untuk Anda. And also, here is shown in the picture, in the monitor. Layanan konsultasinya dapat berupa mengenai kerangka atau framework kurikulum nasional dan internasional, ataupun ingin konsultasi mengenai materi pembelajaran maupun itu textbook ataupun digital, atau ingin konsultasi mengenai implementasi program pembelajaran dan evaluasi, atau bahkan informasi pelatihan nih atau pendampingan guru. Silahkan dapat menghubungi kami di nomor WhatsApp tertera, sudah terbagi untuk subjeknya ya Bapak Ibu, dan sudah ada juga di chat box Anda. And also thank you very much Ms. Linda for the insights and ideas you shared to our teachers, and I'm sure our teachers will take away some ideas with them and also are able to help their students to learn maths better. Thank you very much Ms. Linda.
You're welcome. Glad to meet all of you teachers.
Ya, oke. Baik, Bapak Ibu, seperti ajakan di sesi perkenalan buku, bagaimana kalau 16 anak Indonesia menulis cerita oleh Ibu Ana Rimba Poa tadi ya, selaku CEO dan founder Mentari Group, maka kami sudah menyediakan formulir pre-order untuk mencatat pemesanan Bapak dan Ibu. Silakan Bapak Ibu dapat mengisi Google Form melalui tautan yang akan tim kami kirimkan melalui kolom chat. Dan harga setiap bukunya adalah senilai Rp70.000. Silakan dapat mengisi di Google Form yang akan diberikan di chat box. Baik, buku Bagaimana Kalau 16 Anak Indonesia Menulis Cerita ini ditulis oleh para penulis muda berbakat di Indonesia. Dengan cerita yang sangat seru, tadi juga sudah dilihat ya, ilustrasi-ilustrasinya juga sangat cantik. Original karena dibuat oleh anak-anak itu sendiri, tidak ada campur tangan orang dewasa, autentik, imajinatif, dan proyek ini bekerja sama dengan editor ternama Reda Gaudiamo. And now educators, please kindly spend 2 minutes to fill in our online feedback form, and the link and the QR code are already displayed on the screen, or you can click it, the link on the chat box. And this is important. Please access the online form and make sure to fill it carefully on your full name and active email address. The e-certificate will be sent to your email only after you submit the feedback form. Baik, Bapak Ibu, saat ini sudah tertera di layar Anda tautan untuk feedback online dan juga QR code. Untuk formulirnya dapat Bapak Ibu isi, mohon perhatikan pada penulisan nama lengkap dan juga alamat email ya Bapak Ibu, karena data ini menjadi data kami untuk menuliskan sertifikat digital partisipasi dari sesi ini. Dan sertifikat akan otomatis dikirim ke email Bapak Ibu setelah Bapak Ibu submit atau mengumpulkan feedback form. Silakan dapat diisi dalam waktu 2 menit, silakan.